Hi, I'm Shay, and welcome to my first video on this channel. In this video, I'm going to show you I haven't counted, but I'm going to show you the things that I made in the year 2017. So since it's my first video, I wanted to give you a heads up that this is probably not going to be the space that I always film in, but it was the best place in my house right now, so it's what we're going with. I started sewing in 2017 in July, August. I got the sewing machine going in July, and then in August it picked up a little bit. I've been sewing for about 6 months, less than 6 months now, and I've made a good number of things. They're not all the best quality, but I'm still really proud of all of them. I have most of them here. They're not ironed or in great shape, but I'm also gonna iron them, style them, and insert some video of me wearing them while I'm talking about them. So either it'll be here, or maybe, yeah, here, or it'll just be over instead of my face. The first thing that I sewed was actually a little drawstring bag that I have in the basement with the rest of my sewing things, but it's full of stuff and I brought everything else up, so I'll insert a video of that after. It took me all night long to make it. I was excited. I got my sewing machine going and I had a little bit of fabric in the house, and so I just looked up how to make a drawstring bag without a pattern, and I did it, and like I said, it took me all night. And I didn't have any cord or anything like that, so I sort of wrapped up fabric with some yarn that I had, and it's not the best quality, but honestly, I was just really excited to have made something. So the first thing that I made, the first garment that I made, was this skirt. I used the video by Rosa from Sewn, that's a pleated skirt without a pattern tutorial. And there are a lot of things about this skirt that are not very good. In this video I am going to point out some things that aren't very good, but that's not because I want to bring myself down, it's because I'm happy with the direction that I'm going and that I feel like I'm getting better in a lot of ways. So yeah, there's a lot of things in this skirt that are not great. It's just 100% cotton that I got from Michael's, so not even a proper fabric store. I was just in Michael's and I saw it and I picked it up because I thought it was a nice color. And it creases terribly. It is always creased like this. I haven't ironed it. Obviously when you iron it, it's not creased, but immediately upon touching it, it's creased. And that's a bummer. It's not something I really intend to wear much at all, but I wore it on the beach in the summer because it doesn't really matter on the beach if your clothes are that nice. It was my first attempt at pleats. I don't think that they're great, but you know, they're pleats. You can see them like that. More importantly, the waistband isn't even sewn down. More importantly, I put in an invisible zip. It was my first invisible zip, and I actually think it went really well. It works perfectly fine, and when you do it up, it's not super duper visible. It is visible, but it's not super duper visible. The zip can be the up of the waistband. I was pretty proud of. I also did a blind hem on this one, which didn't turn out perfectly, but I think it looks worse because it's not ironed. When it's ironed, it's actually not quite as bad. So that's that. If it looks like I'm looking down sometimes, it's because I'm recording on my laptop right now. I do have a proper camera that I would like to record with at some point, but I'm having difficulty getting video off of the camera onto the computer. So for now, I know once I've recorded it in the computer, it's already there for editing and uploading, but if I'm looking down, that's why that is. The second thing that I made, I'm actually just gonna pull out my phone because I have the pattern number in here. Whew, my glasses are very reflective. The next thing that I made was from a proper pattern. It was McCall's M7409, I believe. I just looked it up, so if it's wrong, that's actually terrible. It is this. It's a little romper. When I bought the pattern, and I'll put the pattern art up somewhere if I can, I have left it somewhere, but when I bought the pattern, I, for whatever reason, thought that it was separate. I thought it was a pair of high-waisted shorts and a little crop top. I don't know why I thought that, but it's not. It's a romper. There were a lot of technical skills in this, or a fair number of technical skills in this, that I was pretty proud of. So first of all, obviously just getting the pattern, cutting the pattern out of the fabric, and getting everything right is in and of itself something to celebrate. On top of that, there is another invisible zip, which I think is more invisible in this one. know if you can see. It also has bust darts. So there's a bodice in here with bust darts in it, and then there's an overlay. So I did the bust darts, and then for the overlay, you understitch the seam allowance to the bodice on the inside so that it doesn't roll over the front. So overall, I was really happy with the bodice portion of this. Then for the shorts, you gather them and attach them, and there's also this pocket. It's not an inseam pocket. I don't know what type of pocket it is, but it's a separate piece for the pocket, and then there's the rest of the short front there. And I felt like overall I executed things pretty well. The trouble is, I think I cut the wrong size for the pattern, so I either will have already put up some video or I'll be putting up some video now, but basically the top fits okay, but the shorts are just too long, too large, too baggy. There's something wrong with them. So I might try at some point to remove the crotch seam and sew it up so that it's just like a skirt with a seam in the front and the back. Then just take it in slightly at the sides, because I figure if it's a slightly more fitted dress with a bit of a drapey bodice piece, that's okay. But to have a drapey bodice piece and then just really voluminous bottoms is not the look I'm going for. I'm not actually sure what look I'm going for, but that's not it. This is in a crepe, I believe. And I love this fabric actually. It wasn't amazing to work with, but it wasn't terrible to work with. And it doesn't wrinkle, which is my favorite. The next thing that I made was the Collatz Sorbetto, which is here. It's got the box pleat down the front. Is it a box pleat? I feel like I was very confident in everything before I started filming. It's also got the bust darts, bias binding around the neckline, and I was actually really happy with this. I definitely, again, did it in the wrong size. I think maybe I'm overestimating the size so that I don't make it too small, because I think it's easier to take in than, obviously if you cut it too small you can't necessarily take it out, but I'm not necessarily at a point yet where I can take things in and have them still look the way they're supposed to look. So things just end up too big. But I really like this fabric. I really like the way that it turned out. Even though it's too big, I just tuck it into some high-waisted jeans and throw on a cardigan, and it looks really nice and slouchy. I'm a big fan of it, actually. I feel like you're not supposed to say that about things that you've made, but I like it. I am a fan of it. I wanted to do a free pattern at this point because, especially after making the McCall's pattern, I was not feeling very confident. I thought maybe I won't spend money on a pattern just yet. I'll work on getting those skills improved first, and I'm glad that I did this pattern. It's super soft. It's a challis. I will be putting the word up here somewhere. I, in my head, have been reading it as chalice, which is almost certainly wrong. It's a rayon challis. Still feels wrong. It's not like the cotton, which I feel like wrinkles even if you don't touch it. It is perfectly fine now because I have not worn it. But as soon as I wear it, it will be wrinkly, which I guess is to be expected, but just annoying. It's not the end of the world, and I do really love it. It's really comfy. The next thing I made was another sorbetto, and I made that with the leftover fabric from the McCall's pattern. I made it, I think, a size smaller, and then on top of that I moved the position of the bust darts, and I think it fits better in terms of actually fitting my body. I don't actually like the fit of it as much. It doesn't have the same sort of loungy effect, I guess. I am proud that I managed to Frankenstein this together because I was really low on this fabric. I've got my side seams, obviously, that's where you put the original one together. I've also got a seam down the back. You can see where that is, but the print is very sort of chopped already, so it's not a terrible eyesore if you've got a whole bunch of seams everywhere, because it, in a lot of ways, just looks like the print. And then on top of that, I have a seam down the middle on the inside, and I then attached a separate piece for the box pleat at the front. And for the seam allowances on the inside, I just covered them with a piece of sort of bias binding. It's not bias binding because it didn't need to go around a neckline, but it's just an extra strip of fabric that I've covered the seam allowance up with. Like I said, I'm proud that I got it together. It's not my favorite thing that I've made, but I do like it. I'm glad that I was able to do another one in a more fitted way, because I think that that's a valuable skill to have, is being able to fit things to your body. The bias binding on both of them, I think the way I've done it pulls, it's not terrible on the neckline, but you can definitely see on the arms that it pulls away from the arm a little bit. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong with the bias binding. I don't overly like bias binding, so there's that. Yeah, the next thing I made was a paid for pattern. Exciting. I made the Sew Over It Kimono Jacket, and it looks like this in front of my face. I don't know if you can hear me when there's fabric between us. It's got all these pretty little flowers on it. This was my first go at putting sleeves in. It was my first go at doing a neckband, which I hand stitched all the way around. It looks like that. I think it looks pretty good. I think the length, I went for the shorter length, and I think the length comes up a bit weird on me maybe. When I first made it, I was pretty happy with the length, and then once I had hemmed it, I was less happy with it. I still like it. I haven't had very many chances to wear it because it's winter. I guess I haven't been giving any sort of timeline, but I finished this in November. I haven't had many chances to wear it, so maybe I'll like it the more that I wear it. I love this fabric. This is also a challis. I'm just gonna say it like that. We're gonna leave it. It is the softest fabric that I've worked with so far, and I really love it. I actually saw it in Fabricland the other day. Most of my fabric is from Fabricland. I was very, very tempted to buy a lot more. It's very drapey, which is really nice in a lot of ways for the look of a garment, but not the most fun to work with. But I still wanted to get more because it just is really soft and comfortable to wear, and I think it looks nice. It actually comes up pretty true to color. Yeah, I like that one a lot. I feel like I've said that about almost everything. The next thing that I made was with the same fabric, and it is a hack. It's weird to do air quotes like that. A hack of the Collatz Sorbetto, and it looks like this. I did the neckline of the Sorbetto, and I went to just above the darts basically, and then instead of having any sort of shaping for the bust, I just gathered a piece along the front. And on the back, I didn't do it all one piece, I did it in two pieces. I'm not fully sure why, because I knew I wasn't going to gather the back. It's actually really short. That's because I was basically running out of this fabric. The other thing that I did with this was I avoided a bias binding by self-lining the top part of it. So it goes to there on the back and the front, which is probably part of the reason I ran out of fabric to make it longer. I actually quite like the way that it turned out. I like the neckline of it being not bias bound. I guess it's sort of like a facing, but it doesn't hang by itself. It's then connected where you connect the ruffle bit. And then I made two more things in 2017. I was making these things simultaneously, but the one that got done first was my dress for the Little Red Dress project, because it was almost time for the Little Red Dress project and it wasn't done, so it took priority. I did the Sew Over It cowl neck dress. This is my first time sewing with a jersey fabric or a knit fabric or a stretch fabric of any kind. It's got stretch to it. I had this fabric for ages, but I was very nervous about working with it because a lot of people seem to be nervous about working with jersey, or if they're not nervous about it, they're telling people, don't be nervous, it's okay. And that's kind of like, I wasn't nervous, but now I am. It was actually not so bad. I think that's just because it's thin, but it's not, it doesn't roll back on itself when you cut it or anything like that. It's called a melange knit. It's red and it's got these flecks of black. It's not really see-through when you have it on. I know with the light coming from behind me, it's looking quite see-through, but it's not. I cut this a size too large, at least. I think that that's becoming a trend in this video. Because of that, I took the sleeves up to be shorter. I took the sides in by, I'm not sure how much. I just would take the sides in, put it on. If it was still too large, I would take the sides in again. And it still is coming up large. I also chopped a bunch off the bottom, I think I chopped a bunch off the bottom. I should start making notes on the things that I'm making. The fit is not terrible, which is probably not what you want to say. You want to say that the fit is good. The main issue is that I didn't take anything out of the shoulder seam. Not in terms of making the shoulder seam like tighter like that, but the shoulder seam itself is quite long compared to what I needed it to be because I did an extra size up. The sleeves sort of fall down off the shoulder a little bit. They don't sit quite nicely, and I end up pulling the cowl forward a lot more to pull the sleeves up, which works okay, but then the sleeves are heavier than the cowl neck part, so they end up pulling themselves back down. The bottom hem, I guess you can hem other places. The area sort of down from my knees, it's not in toward the body, which I think it's supposed to be. It's sort of more straight and a little bit, you'll see in video. So it's not perfect, but I am really proud of it because, like I said, it was my first time working with a stretch fabric, and it was actually my first dress as well. So all around exciting. I'm proud of it, and I have my last thing that I need to show you. The last thing that I made in 2017 is not actually done yet, but it's mostly done. So I'm counting it as made in 2017. It is another Sorbetto Kimono Jacket. It's the long version, and it's in this satin fabric. So far I'm liking the way that it sits better, I think. This one's actually not for me, it's for my mom. It was sort of a Christmas gift. But I mean, it's too cold to wear it now anyway, right? So she can get it in soon. I'm gonna finish the neckband so that I can film wearing it, so that I can put it in this video. So by the time this video goes up, this will be done. I really don't enjoy hand sewing. For whatever reason, I find it very stressful. So that's part of the reason that this hasn't gotten done yet. And it's actually the main reason that this hasn't gotten done yet. I hemmed the sleeves of this and the other kimono jacket in blind hem, which I think turned out, you can see, better than it did on that first skirt, so that's something that I maybe haven't mastered, but I'm doing okay with. I have quite a bit of this fabric left. I've actually already used it for something in 2018, but I still have quite a bit of it left. I will say though, as nice as it is, it's a nice fabric, and I like the look of it and everything. Wow, this effing fabric, and by effing I mean fraying, and I did come up with that joke way in advance. When you're trying to hand sew into seam allowance that is just withering away, like, I don't know if you can see, but it's just, it was kind of a nightmare to work with. And I was already intending to do French seams, and when I first cut it, it wasn't fraying, so it seemed fine. And then partway through, when I had done some French seams already, I was so glad that I had, because there just would be no way that this would be wearable at all if it didn't have French seams. Something I didn't mention with a lot of my other makes is that I was doing French seams in almost all of them. I didn't do French seams in the McCall's make or in that first skirt, but I think everything else for the most part had French seams. Woo, my hair's moved. I kept fussing with it, so I'm gonna leave it like this, though it will inevitably fall on my face. Those were the things that I made in 2017, or mostly made in 2017. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it's not too long. It's almost 40 minutes right now, but I've done a lot of umming and ahhing. That's what that is. Hopefully, once I've edited it down, it's not quite so bad. I hope that you'll join me again soon. My next video will probably be my make 9, because I have put that on Instagram. Speaking of Instagram, I'm grabbing my phone and getting ready to plug myself. I put my phone to the camera and everything went dark, so I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to say that you can find me on Instagram at ShayFromScratch, which is also this channel name, and I do have on there my make 9, which I'm going to go into more detail in in a video. Check back for that. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you didn't, please don't tell me. But if you enjoyed it and there are things I could work on, let me know nicely in the comments below. If you did enjoy it and you don't think there's things I could work on, you are too kind and also a liar. So you can tell me that in the comments below as well. And I don't want to do the thing where I'm like, subscribe, but I mean, you know. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you soon.